be June 21st, 2024. It is 6:28 p.m. and I am located at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6. This is the third floor of the Alvarado Gardens apartments, facing the same hillside that I was present this morning at approximately 6:30 a.m. and I am capturing still images both out of my bedroom window where the sunset is occurring in perfect alignment with me and perfect alignment with what was the sunrise this morning, while you saw the engineered light on my walls inside of my bedroom. And what you see now is the same panels of light. This is nothing other than engineered light. So that's what I mean by the same. You're looking at the same pattern of what is the appearance of the shape of the windows, and it is actually paneled. They're side by side up here, if you can pay attention to the engineered light that's appearing on my living room windows. And this is upon opening up the blinds in the living room window, where you're looking at what is engineered light, which is evidence of the population that is engaged in group stalking together. And this is engineered light that's inside of my apartment on the walls. I have multiple shadows. You can see my one person right here, and they're also on 2 different levels. I've got 2 shadows down here and 4 shadows. There are multiple layers of light activity. This is engineered light. This is not sunlight. This is this pain pattern of conduct that I documented this morning, engineered light, while this light source that I've been documenting, the people of the state maintaining criminal presence on behalf of the government, while I remain at the same apartment complex all day, which is where I captured the presence of the light source in alignment to me inside of my apartment this morning. This is engineered light that is inside of my apartment on the floor, traveling, beginning on the walls and the corner, the same corner where I've got about 7 shadows right now, shadows that are stacked on top of each other and then the panels of the windows. This is engineered light. Inside of the living room window, this is through the closed blinds, and what you're looking at while the light source is still in alignment with me. This is engineered light, and this is the light source that you see here. This is engineered light, and these are 2 distinct methods of stalking with light, which is revealing the unnatural environment, and it is not the what you've been conditioned to accept, that this is the sun and that this is sunlight. And you know that because this light source that's in alignment to me and through my living room window where I'm standing right now, there is no natural environment that would consist of sunlight that is still remaining over. Direct light is what you're looking at over this same population, this hillside, at what is 6:28, which is when I'm starting this video right now. None of this is sunlight, and none of this is the product of the sun. These are methods of crossing paths, which is what Marina Davila is doing at 8:12 in the morning, where this light source is directly over my head at the same hillside. Again, at 8:12 a.m. This is where this light source is still present, which is what I'm documenting in the middle of the day when I return to my apartment. If you'll recall my documentation, where I am remaining, the light source remains over me everywhere that I'm going on this property, and it remains for the duration of the day. In fact, it is still here over me at the property right now. This is the light source that's still over me at the same property where Marina Del Rey is group stalking as I walk outside of my apartment. She's engaging in surveillance. She's engaging in what is the role of the people of the state to maintain criminal presence. It's a criminal act on behalf of a government that's engaging in what is demonic activity. It is group stalking. And that group stalking, which is demonic activity that is underway by demon-possessed people who are a part of a population in California who are engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, as I have termed it, because it's in violation of your constitutional rights. It's the government. It is a matter of federal jurisdiction for the prosecution of that state. So that's why it's termed federal group stalking and monitoring. It's also pursuant to what is federal stalking that's occurring on the venue of the internet and via communication devices in violation of existing federal statute. Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, where this demonic conduct that the entity is engaging in, the elements of monitoring, creating light activity, creating audible activity, and creating what is perpetual presence. This is maintaining presence and at all times, including while I'm physically alone, but surrounded by engineered light, and a light source remains over me for the duration of the day, which is exactly what I documented today, June 21st, 2024. This is not the natural environment where at 8 o'clock in the morning, Marina Davila, who was group stalking clearly with impunity, because this entity is also monitoring me on the venue of the internet, aware of the evidence of its criminal conduct in violation of my human and constitutional rights, and yet this entity continues to do so in concert with the state that is heavily documented stalking stalking in helicopters, which is that evidence against the entity, which will be directly applied against that entity in federal court when they are sentenced for engaging in and facilitating the state's criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is the evidence of the demon possession and the demonic activity at the same apartment building where I'm inside of right now at 12:13 in the afternoon. The light source is directly above me. When I am remaining inside of my apartment, as I am documenting it at 12:38 p.m., the light source is remaining directly above me while the entity are engaging in what is audible activity creation and the phenomenon that the sun would still be over me while I'm inside of the same exact apartment building, 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 in Los Angeles, California, facing the same hillside, which is what you see on video, while the people of the state, this is the same hillside that is group stalking as a population. And this is speaking to what is a phenomenon at 6:30 in the morning until what is 12:30 in the afternoon. That's capturing what is the evidence of demon possession, while demons are physically surrounding and engaging in the elements of monitoring audible activity. And audible activity is created by demons who are stalking in helicopters. That's what the terrorist organizations who like to disguise themselves as law enforcement agencies engage in, which is what a hallmark of federal group stalking and monitoring. So I want to make sure that you're looking at this phenomenon. And in addition to this, there is a whole body of evidence that pre-existed my relocation to Los Angeles, where I have continuously documented the criminal system that I remain subject to while sexual violence is underway. This is fancy rain gutters who are maintaining a level of noise. This is a soundtrack, if you will, that demons are maintaining while the light source is directly over my head, which you can see through the evidence of his shadow. The light source is directly above me while I'm in my bedroom, but when I walk outside of the front of the apartment, that's where the light source will be. This is the demonic environment that is stalking me with a light source that's not the sun, that remains directly over the top of my head for the duration of the day. That's why you see the shadow in this manner. And I'm standing literally at this location in the morning around fancy rain gutters at 10 o'clock where the light source is over me. This is evidence of stalking in the path. This is a sex offense that the people of the state acting via fancy rain gutters whose license plates were documented, they're going to federal prison, and then if they're not natural born citizens, they will be deported, which is how the population is going to be systematically subject to prosecution as a population that's engaging in surveillance with the state of California. Nonetheless, I am inside of this same apartment where the light source remains over me, and the demons were engaging in ongoing harassment. It is inherently harassing while demons are stalking you not only physically, but stalking you with methods of audible activity and stalking in the path for purposes of creating light activity, while that which is not even the sun is maintaining presence over you, while the entity is also stalking in helicopters. And this is indeed the light source that's over. You can see it through the windshields of the vehicles parked at this parking lot at the apartment complex where I'm at. This is at 1:54 p.m. while I am still inside of the same apartment where I was at 6:30 in the morning, and the light source is still over me. This is capturing what is indeed the specific environment as I walk outside of my apartment. Same apartment building, 1806 at 1:57. This is indeed where access is documented engaging in the state's criminal system, and the entity is engaging in what is threatening my life, stalking in helicopters, repeating those acts of terrorism to directly communicate a threat while the light source remains directly over me, which is what I'm documenting after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is where the light source is remaining at 5 o'clock when I am at the same property at my leasing office, and I'm walking down the same path so that you can see the time. As I walk the same path toward my apartment, you're looking at the light source, which is called stalking in the path with light. This is what an entire community is doing while the light source remains over me at the same exact property as I walk down the same path toward my apartment. This is the laundry, and this is building, so you can see here, this is building 1800 that I'm crossing as I'm on the sidewalk walking toward my apartment, and the light source keeps in perfect alignment with me. That's it. You can see the absence of that light source. However, you can see the shadow of the palm tree. The light source is still present while I am going into my apartment, which is exactly what I document, while the light source is remaining in alignment with me at this hour of the day at 5:05 p.m. That is through my bedroom window inside of the same apartment where I was capturing the sunrise. This is the light source, engineered light that's on my ceiling. This is the same pattern that you're looking at, engineered light. The pattern of the blinds is appearing above my head, and what you are seeing on my living room walls is the panels, the shape of this window is appearing on the walls, which is what's creating multiple shadows of myself. This is engineered light. This is not sunlight, and it is also not the product of any presence of a light source, if you will. Sunlight is not going to touch on the surface. Well, by the way, if you're looking at, this is all shade. Okay, so like I said, this is engineered light. This is not sunlight. The pattern of the engineered light, everything that it touches, you're talking about what is the creation of light activity. And what the pattern is where the engineer light touches something, it creates the object even at a great distance, which is how you'll have the shadow of a palm tree while it is appearing inside of the depths of my apartment. And that's impossible light activity, by the way. This is what the entity does through the magnification of light. That's piercing through closed blinds, as I have shown it into my bedroom. And you're looking at the leaves that are blowing through the trees, even though the blinds are closed, which has nothing to do with sunlight as well. The reason why I started this video at 6:28 p.m. is because the light activity that's covering all of the people of the state, and they are defined as a matter of legal conclusion that these are indeed the people of the state who will be prosecuted as a population engaging in state surveillance in the state of California with the state of California, while the light source's documented presence is in an entirely different region where I was being released from kidnapping by the same entity, the state of California, the people of the state and the state that was stalking me in helicopters, engaged in what is a kidnapping on June 16, 2022, from the address, which is 215 East C Street, the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library. This is what I've been continuously documenting, including today at 10:29 in the morning, where that which is not possibly the sun is nowhere near an Ovitt Family Community Library, or at the same time when I'm documenting the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court and the light source is maintaining presence over me. This is the significance of what I'm capturing on video when the entity is maintaining presence over me, as I'm showing at 10:43. The light source is remaining over me while the people of the state are engaged in demonic pacing, while the entity is stalking in helicopter, while the light source is clearly over me at Alvarado Gardens, and it is nowhere near 215 East C Street in Ontario, California at 10:36 in the morning. And this is while I am capturing the maintenance of this light source. So just to recall, the entity that is kidnapping me from the Ovitt Family Community Library is the same entity that is to date stalking in helicopters with real-time knowledge of what I'm documenting about third-party group stalkers such as Yolanda Poon, engaging in this criminal presence and light activity creation while the people of the state surround me in this engineered environment where the light source remains over me, which I documented at 10:27, 10:30. I'm remaining present at the Ovitt Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. And that's where I was kidnapped on June 16, 2022. There is no shared sky space with the Ovitt Family Community Library where I was subject to federal group stalking and monitoring and the terrorist organization engaged in kidnapping, as opposed to a law enforcement agency that actually had facts and probable cause to engage in a lawful arrest, resulting in charges that were a result of a criminal act that I actually committed. This is the malice of an entity that's engaging in this criminal system, and the people of the state and the state engage in a pattern of obstruction of justice, which is why I was kidnapped on June 21st, 2022. On the 21st, I am inside of the state facilitating venue, San Bernardino County, another government facility that is engaged in group stalking, and it is evidenced through the unnatural environment. This engineered light that you will see appearing inside of the depths of this facility, which is in Colton, California, where you are seeing today, there is no sun that would ever be anywhere near Colton, California, because the entity is maintaining a light source that is remaining directly over me for what is the duration of the day. And this is speaking to what is a scientific impossibility that that would be the case, but nonetheless, you're going to prosecute the government for what you are recognizing is a malicious system that is of a demonic nature, and you're going to prosecute for that demonic and malicious manner of stalking and targeting an American citizen for the purpose of engaging in criminal defamation, which is exactly what I was subject to on June 21st, 2022. And the direct evidence, not circumstantial, the direct evidence of that is the maintenance of the specific environment. There is no light activity. There is no sunlight. There is no natural environment that would maintain direct light over the same hillside where I showed the sunrise 12 hours earlier today. It is currently 6:42 p.m. There is no shared environment or no position, no natural environment that would include direct sunlight being over this hillside where the light source is in a position to be seen through the window of this facility in Colton, California, which is the case, a matter of my documentation, which is on this video, and there's no sunlight that's going to be covering this hillside. This is the direct evidence of the criminal system that the people of the state, who are also demon-possessed, this is a demon-possessed population, and the demonic environment is evidence of that, in addition to their demonic activity. The ongoing maintenance, of course, as the demons act as one, seamlessly amongst each other, not requiring some physical meeting every day. They're in sync based on the demonic behavior, the system of what are demons that are acting in one accord while they are together focusing on one person. That is myself. It is massive demonic activity, and they are acting in concert, legally speaking, with the government, who is maintaining criminal presence, stalking me in the unnatural environment. And this unnatural environment is speaking to what is going to be their federal prosecution, because this unnatural environment on the same day at the same time is under no circumstances going to be the result of what is sunlight or any position of the sun, which is speaking to exactly what I've documented and what I have established are the crime scene of federal group stalking and monitoring, the maintenance of engineered light, which is not sunlight. It's for criminal purposes of maintaining presence, criminal presence, while you're subject to group stalking by the government, who is maintaining an ongoing pattern of stalking in that engineered environment. That is how it's going to be prosecuted as state action. And this is also shared with what is the unnatural environment while I am inside of the the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, while the entity sought to criminally defame me for purposes of obstructing justice, while they engaged in kidnapping, all because of the entity's fear. But I want to be clear how the demon-possessed, the psychopaths who bear weapons and are affiliated with terrorist organizations, who are right now hiding, masquerading themselves, disguising themselves, deceptively presenting themselves as law enforcement agencies, which is what Dominic Choi and the Los Angeles Police Department are doing, which is a threat to the public safety. They are actually terrorist organizations, and they are not different from terrorist organizations that are across the globe, who are acting in concert with people of different nations, different countries, including those that are under the age of majority, engaging in what is terrorism, and this is America's version of terrorism, stalking as a population and maintaining demonic methods of surveillance, which is the practice of demonic activity together. And it is shown, it is centered around the unnatural environment, which is the presence, the ability for the demonic environment to speak the truth to you about what a public corruption looks like in America, where it is the practice of the satanic. So this is revealing the engineered light that's inside of the facility of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And this is where the entity is maintaining, I want to be clear, the light source. Contrary to what I documented today for the duration of the day, the light source that's remaining over me in Ontario at one property, the sunrise and the sunset, including what is the engineered light, all the methods of stalking with engineered light, which is what you see inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. Let me be clear. This engineered light is direct evidence of federal group stalking and monitoring. It is not the product of sunlight, ever. Sunlight does not do that, does not shoot horizontally through windows, and doing so creating what is light activity inside of the depths of the room, both in the presence and in the absence of the light source itself. That's called stalking with light. That's inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And you have those that are demon-possessed, those malicious government actors masquerading themselves as medical professionals, and they were group stalking in concert with the so-called patients, the people of the state. The demons who I'm documenting group stalking, in other words, are maintaining presence in medical facilities and in jails as well, the entity engaging in the same pattern of conduct, and they're group stalking inside of the facilities, engaging in psychological torture inside of these facilities in the state of California, which is what Robert Luna, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, that's what they're doing inside of their facilities. That's what the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department are doing inside of their facilities, which I specifically documented. And the entity is also engaging in this amongst the police departments, which is the heavily documented terrorist, LAPD. They're fully exposed and revealed. There is no denying under any circumstances the fact that they're stalking and that they're using helicopters to do so. And that foolish provision of generous evidence against itself and the people of the state is exactly what's going to prosecute everybody else, okay? And I mean the rest of the entity, because they're doing it pursuant to a pattern of conduct that the entity is already surrounded by. And there is no natural environment that consists of engineered light, nothing other than engineered light, in other words, inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, where I am here pursuant to kidnapping by this entity that's stalking day and night, who, by the way, has no authority under the Welfare and Institutions Code that they abuse to engage in defamation and kidnapping, has no authority to engage in any lawful arrest. They are stalking you. They remain the criminal. Even if I had committed a law, in other words, which is the danger where the government has plummeted to such levels of corruption, because you don't have any authority under the law, under the Constitution, when you're engaging in criminal conduct to gain such information if there was a crime committed. But this is the entity that's engaging in making up information to create, manufacture facts and information, as referred to as alternative facts, if you will, and then just off of the assumption that they will never be questioned. That is abusing their positions, and both in the courts, which is the significance of capturing the light source at 10:29 in the morning while it's remaining over me here in Los Angeles. There is no sun over the courthouse, which is on the record already. They're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, and the courthouse is a crime scene where you will never get justice. And they are going to be subject to the same prosecution. This is serving for what is revealing all of the levels of corruption in the state of California, where that courthouse engaged in what is exercising fictitious authority while you are a demon-possessed and corrupt government in the courts, sitting on benches, sitting as the PDs and the DAs, and you're making up information, you're entertaining fictitious charges while you are demon-possessed, and you're literally group stalking in the court while you're exercising that fictitious authority, and it is all a malicious act of the entire government. There is nobody participating in any aspect of that fictitious prosecution that is ignorantly doing so. That's why the fake sun is over the court, because the whole population is engaging in it. That's why while I'm in LA, now you have the whole pattern of conduct here in Los Angeles. It is at every area, at every level, public corruption that is fully exposed by the P.O.C. And while I am inside of a medical facility, the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code, engaging in criminal defamation, engaging in kidnapping while exchanging hands of me, the targeted individual, by the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, documented group stalkers and demon-possessed who are also engaging in what is kidnapping and criminal defamation, psychological torture, group stalking inside of the facilities. All right, the demon-possessed deputies, the demon-possessed medical workers, that's exactly what they're doing inside of the facilities, and that's what the federal government needs to know. It's not just a matter of taking them out of their positions and putting them in cells and giving them mental examinations, putting them in mental facilities. It's also a matter of dissecting, going into the facilities themselves, because they're torturing American citizens. The people of the state, the demon-possessed population, the inmates, are in the facilities torturing as a demon-possessed population. Deputy and inmate are one in the spirit. They're demons together, targeting and tormenting American citizens, where they are kidnapping them right now. So I want to put, and I was subject to it, and I documented it. And this demon possession is occurring while I'm evidencing it through the unnatural environment inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. So that was lengthy to preface what I'm documenting, the maintenance of the light source, which is already on the record. I've literally also used this specific video already as an example. I'm showing you what is under all circumstances down to the same day. In 2022 and 2024, and even down to the same time, and the light source remains in perfect alignment with me. And you have seen the LAPD stalking in helicopters, targeting, and doing so for a prolonged period, and that's exactly what's going on, even down to the same day and minute, speaking to a conclusive and comprehensive federal prosecution, and federal prison is going to be the result for everybody that had any hands in my kidnapping that I was released from on June 21st, 2022. From the person that is sweeping the floors inside of the hospital. They're all group stalking together. Group stalking while a kidnapping is underway is kidnapping by the entity. You are engaging in the federal group stalking and monitoring, and the entity's purpose is to maintain you in that state, psychologically torture you while keeping you kidnapped and defaming you. That's the purpose. And while you engage in group stalking while a kidnapping is underway, you are a kidnapper as a matter of law with the government. And that's exactly what's already on the record with regard to who's been documented amongst the people of the state and the state. So this is engineered light that's on the floor inside of Arrowhead Regional Medical Center at 6:28 p.m. And as I stand here, you're looking at, under no circumstances is there any shared sky space where there would ever be any sunlight, resulting in this manner inside of Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton, and also shared with what's occurring inside of my apartment, outside of my apartment, where there was a sunrise. So I just want to be clear, while the entity is engaging in the pattern of keeping the fake sun over me all day long, there is no natural environment. In other words, the sun is not somehow bouncing to be outside of the window of Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in the way that I captured at 6:28 p.m. on this day in 2022.
This is inside of the room at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center where I remain kidnapped. And this is impossible light activity. That's what this is. Across the room, blinds closed, so it's reaching through the crevice. That's the pattern of conduct, the stalking of light. And here's the fake sun as I captured in images. All right, an impossible occurrence. This is Colton, California, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center at 300 North Pepper Avenue. This is where the entity engaged in kidnapping. All right, the entity tried it again. Every single last one is going to federal prison. It is currently, by the way, June 21st, 2022. It's 6:29 p.m., people. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C.
All right, that is the light source that's maintaining perfect alignment with me while I'm looking through my bedroom window. There is no shared sky space in common. The sun is not in a perfect alignment with the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton,
I want you to
California,
see what is
such that I can also see it through the blinds inside of my apartment, like I'm showing you right now while I am at the same apartment where the sunrise was. This is speaking to what is stalking with light, and it is entirely demonic, and it is speaking to the demonic activity, the demon possession of those who are focusing their attention on me, and it is evidenced through the demonic environment where they are present, wanting to maliciously disguise themselves as living normal lives, living in relevant position, traveling in relevant position, shopping in relevant position, babysitting, engaging in what is the operation of a business or a duty in relevant position, coming to work in relevant position, and it is federal group stalking and monitoring. You can clearly see, first of all, this is clearly the unnatural environment where group stalking is underway, not the natural environment. This is the same parking lot where the light source is present. While I'm literally at the same address, 10 o'clock, I'm at the sidewalk documenting the light source outside of my living room window. The light source is over me at 6:30 in the morning. It is over 12 hours ago. It's 6:53 p.m. and the light source is nowhere near the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. It's seen through the window shields of these vehicles parked at the same apartment complex, the same apartment that I'm inside of where the sunrise was captured. And Christopher On was group stalking in the path, just like this demon is doing the exact same thing, maintaining light activity by shaking this, and she's going to federal prison. That's the demon that is Joan Kim, who was engaging in the same conduct that Christopher On was, maintaining strategic placement in the path, and a demon that's moving around in engineer light under a light source that's not even the sun. This is exhibiting what is the mental illness by the demon possessed, the psychopaths who are obsessively group stalking you and desperately seeking to maintain an appearance of normalcy as though they're doing anything other than that. The unnatural environment defies nature, and it defies that unsuccessful and unpersuasive appearance. This is demonic pacing and light activity while she's shaking something around, maintaining presence in the path. That's a demon that's stalking in the path. She's a violent sex offender, also group stalking on behalf and in concert with the state and all of the state, because there is nothing also that has to do with light activity that's going to create this sort of light activity. There's nothing that has to do with the sun that's going to create this light activity that you see both on my carpet and on my ceiling. And this is again the same apartment where I showed you the sunrise, and the entity has a light source in perfect alignment with me at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center on this same day at the same time. That's capturing the state's criminal system. Every single last person, license plate, state and third-party actor that has ever been documented engaged in what is established as a crime committed by the entire population, showing you what is impossible, that the sun would be at one address for the duration of the day, one location over one person for the duration of the day. That is the conclusive evidence of what is federal group stalking and monitoring. And it is substantiating, supporting exactly what it is that I've exposed and what it is that I've documented. I've gone to the extent to document myself for purposes of prosecuting the government that sought to maliciously target me and silence me. And not only are people going to federal prison for it, I'm going to prosecute a population for it. And it is already on the record right now. It's published onto the venue of the internet. There are people that are going to federal prison, such as Heather Till, the entity that thinks that it will silence you, threaten your employment while they're group stalking you and threatening your life. The entity that comes and communicates a threat while I am documenting government actors such as Karen Bass. And then you have Access, a function of LA County, coming in and communicating a threat by group stalking on more than one occasion. They know that they were documented. The entire community that lives at Alvarado Gardens knows that it's being documented. And the entity is still communicating a threat on a daily basis, group stalking with the state to its own demise. I want to be clear. While I'm documenting Karen Bass, while I'm documenting Access in the specific environment, the entity is intentionally and specifically communicating a threat to my life and safety, which is also reasonably construed through the pattern of conduct where you are documenting the conduct of a stalker. Here, the stalker is the state and the people of the state. And while the entity engages in that criminal conduct, which is terrorism, while you are documenting them, it is a threat to your life. And they intentionally and knowingly do so while they are engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. So what you're looking at now, while in the unnatural environment, demons are pacing up and down Alvarado. And you also know that they're demons not only because of the unnatural environment where they're not driving under any sun that's going to be seen through the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center window. They're demons who you've also seen directly engaging in that kind of driving amongst engineer light that's ricocheting all off of cars. This is the demon-possessed population that are violent sex offenders engaging in ongoing surveillance and think to their own demise. They deceive themselves thinking that they will communicate a threat to your life and survive a prosecution and exposure for it. You won't. You will go to federal prison. There is no anonymity. The entire property here is going to federal prison for the demons that are acting with impunity in concert with the demons that live here. This is how you prosecute group conduct. Everyone here, all 59 units, are going to federal prison because this is impunity while this demon stalks in the path, shaking her rug in a perfect alignment under a fake sun that's not at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center and has not moved anywhere. It can never be the sun over the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, contrary to what I documented at this time. So in reality, the light source that the entity would like to argue is the natural environment. Well, then there's no sun that's ever going to be at Alvarado Gardens. And you also know under both circumstances, it's not the sun because it's at the same address where I'm at 12 hours earlier. This is a demon. You're understanding what malice looks like. You're understanding what psychopaths would like to maintain the appearance of. It's highly deceptive, but it's actually not persuasive whatsoever when you're breaking down the demon possessed who want to maintain desperately an appearance of normalcy. And there's nothing normal about moving around in engineer light under a fake sun. It is openly exposing what is demon possession at its finest. Okay. It is currently 6:57 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of a sex offense that I remain subject to. This is where the entity is stalking on an ongoing basis, engaging in what is criminal surveillance, specific knowledge of where I'm at, where I'm located. The entity is doing so on a 24-hour basis. Look at this engineer light that's appearing. And this is while the blinds are open. That has nothing to do with sunlight. You are understanding the presence of the demonic. That's a demon that's stalking in the path, wanting to look like, oh, I'm vigorously cleaning something. That's a demon that knows exactly where I'm at, does not have to look at me, knows exactly what I'm saying. You are also understanding how do you gather that knowledge because of the unnatural environment that surrounds. Never mind the fact that you may lack the spiritual discernment. I am giving you the natural evidence that you can witness tangibly with your own eyes and ears, and I'm letting you know what I'm capable of discerning, and I'm giving you the proof of it through what you can see and hear with your own eyes and ears. Okay, that's malice. That's a psychopath also that doesn't want their mentally deranged behavior to be advertised to everyone else in the world. But this is how you'll know, and you're also going to witness their prosecution. It is currently 6:58 p.m. and this is P.O.C.